This podcast is presented by Regions Bank. You're chasing your goals, and it's up to you how you want to get there. Let Regions Bank coach you with financial tips that fit your everyday grind. Visit regions.com/next-step to learn more. Regions, member FDIC.
Welcome to the Super Bowl edition of the AP Top 25 College Football Podcast. I'm Rob Maaddi, AP Pro Football writer based in Philadelphia. I'm here on Radio Row in Miami hosting daily shows all week, and we're getting closer. We're almost there. Everyone is fired up for the San Francisco 49ers and Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl 54 on Sunday. Ralph Russo will be back next week and throughout the offseason for the College Football Podcast. We've got a jam-packed show for you. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott, Hall of Fame running back Jerome the Bus Bettis is here, former Pro Bowl running back Ronnie Brown, Bears star receiver Allen Robinson, super agent Leigh Steinberg, Hall of Fame receiver Tim Brown, former NFL running back Rashaad Jennings, Vikings defensive backs Harrison Smith and Xavier Rhodes, and also Martha Stewart. So let's go. I'm joined by Dak Prescott, the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. Dak, I know athletes are wired to look ahead, not look back. When you look back, however, at last season with the Dallas Cowboys, how disappointing is it that you're here now, but you're not playing in that big game on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's disappointing. When you go into the season, that's your mindset, that's your goal is to be playing in this game, and you want to do everything you can and make the playoffs to give yourself an opportunity. And we fell short there. We fell short in making the playoffs. So, as you said, you never want to look back, but when you do, you have to grab something positive and bring it with you going forward. And we'll do that because we had things that we could grow from this year that were good. Necessarily, I improved myself individually, or I think our offense made a step and improved, but it didn't correlate to wins, and that's what's frustrating. But that's what this offseason will be: is how do we take that next step as an offense and as a team, and make sure that those things are correlating to wins.
Well, you got a new head coach now, Mike McCarthy. He's got an impressive resume. He won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. How excited are you to go into next season with a head coach like that?
Yeah, I'm very excited. I mean, you just said it. He won a Super Bowl, and that's what I want, right? That's the goal. That's at the beginning of the season. That's what you want. That's the reason I played this whole game. So anytime a coach comes in the locker room and he has one of those, I want to follow him, right? He has the method, he has the formula, he has the way to get to what I want. And I'm going to follow him. I know the rest of the team is the same way, and we're excited for it.
Well, you got an interesting offseason, obviously. You got a contract situation that you got to deal with. How are you handling that?
I mean, I worry about what I can. I mean, I control what I can control, and that's it. The rest is out of my hands, and so it's not a focus of mine. I mean, I've got a great agency, and I've got a great team that I'm confident we'll get something done. I have confidence in the Cowboys as well that we'll figure something out.
I know you're here on behalf of Sleep Number. I mean, it's right here behind me. This is so comfortable. I'm sleeping in a hotel right now, bedroom, and I just want to jump on here. Tell me about this.
Yeah, that's the only bad part about being here in Miami this week. One, not playing, but two, not sleeping in my own Sleep Number 360 bed. But you just said it's so comfortable. It's my advantage. I've been working with Sleep Number for about 2 years. So going through the season about midway last year, I became a fan, got my 360, and with the cool heated mattress, I keep it cold. It's my advantage. It helps me improve. I'm able to follow my eating regimen and my weight regimen, so why not follow my sleep? And Sleep Number with the 360 bed with the app, it allows me to do that, my heart rate, track how restless I am. As I said, it's my competitive edge, and I'm here sharing it with the world.
Wow, it does definitely sound like a competitive edge. Well, Dak Prescott, man, I appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Welcome in Hall of Fame running back Jerome Bettis. Bus, you finally got to a Super Bowl towards the tail end of your career and won one. What is that feeling like for the guys, especially the young guys who are here, who may think like, oh, this is what NFL life is like. I'm gonna come back here soon. You know, it's a tough thing to get here. What was that like for you?
You know what? It's a very tough thing to get here again. And so what the young guys have to guard against is thinking that, oh, it's going to be like this every year, because they may never get another opportunity as good as this again. So they've got to seize the moment, not think that, hey, if we don't win, we'll be right back, because you may not make it back. So they've got to be focused on the game at hand and trying to win it.
how much has the NFL changed since you were playing power running back? Now we got a pass-heavy offense, pass-heavy league. But I'm noticing a little small trend to where smash mouth football is getting popular again, especially with the San Francisco 49ers. They do different things. They're a little more innovative.
It's more exotic smash mouth in San Francisco.
I like that term, exotic.
Yeah, exotics, because they don't go right at you the entire time, but they still want to pound you into submission. And the game, the analytics of the game is really taking everything a different direction, in the sense that the analytics say you want to throw the ball early and run the ball late, where that's totally different than how we've seen the NFL evolve. But now what we're seeing is teams, and it's always been the case, when you get to the playoffs, the teams that are really exceptional are the teams that can run the football. And that's always going to be the case, because if you're one-dimensional, you're never going to win this game. You've got to have the ability to run the football, keep the other team off the field, right, and then score points. So I think you got to be able to do both.
Sounds like you're leaning towards the 49ers this week.
Actually, I'm rooting for Kansas City. I'm hoping. I'm a big Andy Reid fan. I would love to see Andy Reid win it. So I'm rooting for Kansas City. But San Francisco, they are every bit as good as Kansas City. So I think it's going to be a spectacular Super Bowl. I'm excited to just watch the game, and I don't really care who wins as long as it's a great game.
Well, you mentioned Andy Reid. I covered his entire career in Philadelphia, and you said you're a big fan of his. What makes him so popular among former players and national media? Because let me tell you, in Philly, he wasn't very well received, despite being the most winning more games than any coach in franchise history.
Well, one, he was very creative offensively. He knew how to get the best out of his players and out of his team. But he was also, from all accounts, a player's coach. He had a great rapport with a lot of the guys, and made sure that everything was done the right way. So from that perspective, that was something I've always appreciated about Andy Reid. And although I probably wouldn't have worked well in his system, I want to see him have success.
He did have some thunder and lightning way back in the day. He had Deuce Staley, right?
He had Deuce. But Deuce was a big guy that kind of ran. He ran as a smaller guy, but he was physical nonetheless. But it was a little different in terms of the offense. I could have probably did what Deuce did, but Deuce was a special running back in his own right, because he could catch it out of the backfield, run it. I was a little bit more downhill as a runner, so maybe not so much in that offense.
Well, Jerome, you're here on behalf of Hurts, and let me tell you, man, I'm having a tough time getting around Miami, trying to go from my hotel here. I'm getting rides. I could use some help.
Absolutely, and it's been great. I've been working with Hurts and helping them introduce, it's called the Extra Mile campaign, and the whole idea behind it is really to celebrate and to say thank you to those Gold Reward members that have really helped make Hertz the #1 car rental company. And so the whole idea is to create some really experiences that these Gold members can really access. And the one that's available now is 50 winners are going to have an opportunity to go in style in a decked-out bus to the big game, which,
are you going to ride on that? The bus?
I think that's the only mode of transportation you need to take is the bus. Now, but they'll get a chance, them and their friends, to go to the big game in style. And even if you're not in Miami, you can win a $300 gift card for a future rental. And all you got to do is go to Instagram, post on your story, and tag it with at Hertz, and you've got a chance to win. So it's a great opportunities for those Gold Reward members, and it's a great company. So I'm just glad to be a part of it, because I've been a Gold member for over 20 years.
I like that. Well, Jerome, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Welcome in Leigh Steinberg, who is the CEO of Steinberg Sports and Entertainment. Leigh, your resume is incredible. NFL record, 8 first overall picks, 62 first-round picks, $3 billion in contracts that you've negotiated. But one of my favorite things to see is $750 million to charity. So I want to get into that, but first I got to ask you about, can you tell us or give us an update on Tua and how he's feeling right now?
Well, he's dropped his crutches. He's so young, and athletes that play football have a remarkable ability to rehabilitate. You and I might be, well, I certainly would be in bed for a week or two if I got hit once on a football field. But so he's coming along, and I'm sure that sometime prior to the draft he'll be able to show his skills and be perceived the way he originally was perceived as a top pick in the draft.
So you're anticipating the possibility that he could be on the field and show some of his skills before the draft?
I think so. Certainly the film's in the can, and he's got spectacular film. The hardest thing to find in football today is a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
And someone you can build around 10 to 12 years, win because of rather than with, and who most importantly in adversity. You've thrown a couple interceptions, the crowd's booing, the game's getting out of hand, the center's looking at you like you're on hallucinogens. What does he do now? Can he compartmentalize, adopt a quiet mind, and elevate his level of play to take the team to and through victory? And I think he has that.
Well, when you talk about Tua, you're talking about a kid who has got strong character. And I'm sure that's helped him battle through this adversity. And I want to get into another one of your clients who's got a big game coming up this Sunday against the San Francisco 49ers, and that is Patrick Mahomes, the dynamic quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, last year NFL MVP. He is not only one of the best players out there on the field, but again, another man with strong character. When did you notice for the first time that Patrick was not just a special talent, but a special person?
So I co-represent him with my younger counsel, Chris Cabot. We both went and met with the parents, and you could see how he's brought up faith-based, very strong character, and we look for clients that are willing to retrace their roots and go back to the high school, collegiate, and professional community and set up charitable and community programs. And he was all about that. So you could see that he was not self-absorbed. He was very much someone that cared about other people. He was grounded from watching his father pitch in the major leagues, understood the highs and lows. And so very quickly it was clear he had a very unique and preternaturally mature character.
Well, your emphasis on guys who want to go out into the community and do work like that is pretty remarkable. Now, you have on Saturday, it is the 33rd annual Leigh Steinberg Super Bowl party. I was just telling Julia, I get the invitation every year, but because the NFL honors and they are the AP awards coincide, but she said, hey, it's it's earlier.
Yes.
You could do both.
You
so
could.
I may finally come out there. I've been wanting to. Tell us about the party, your motivation behind it, and who it benefits.
So it's the 33rd Super Bowl party. I remember being here in 1994 with Steve Young winning the Super Bowl, which was a very celebratory moment. What we do is we pick a cause and try to raise money for it. When we were in Miami the very last time, we sent a water machine over to Haiti that could purify water for 142,000 people a day because it had an earthquake and cholera. This time it's Make-A-Wish Foundation. And Make-A-Wish will take some kids to the game, and then we'll try to raise enough money to fulfill a lot of kids' dreams. We give out Humanitarian Awards for philanthropic work, and this year one's going to Stephen Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins, and Brett Veach, the general manager of Kansas City, and Jamie Roots, who's the president of Houston. Patrick's getting a special award for his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation, and so it's a mix of politics, big business, all the elements of the entertainment field that goes into this, but all done in a way to try to benefit other people.
If people can't make it to the party, I know it's an invitation, and Is there a way that they can reach out and try to help and donate or do anything along those lines?
Absolutely. If they go to steinbergsports.com.
And all your social media, of course,
all my
too.
social media, yes. My expansive social media, which Julio Farron helps me with.
Well, you're very active on social media. You do a great job. So, Julia, kudos to you for doing a great job along with Leigh. Leigh, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us.
It's been my pleasure.
Welcome into the show, Allen Robinson, wide receiver for the Chicago Bears. You're coming off a personal outstanding season, excellent year for you.
Appreciate it.
The team kind of struggled, didn't live up to expectations. How do you weigh that? You know, you had a great year, but the team struggled. So when you look back on that, it's probably hard to get too excited over it.
No, it definitely is. You know, as opposed to, the prior year, I think I finished with 755 yards. We finished 12-4. And went to the playoffs, So, again, I mean, what you want to do is you want to be competing for a Super Bowl and be playing at this time of year right now, So it's definitely tough. You reach some PRs and things like that, and come close to some of the goals that you may reach. But ultimately, the end game that you want to win it all, And again, for us, we weren't able to do that this year. We fell short. We didn't go to the playoffs. We didn't give ourselves a chance to compete for that Lombardi Trophy.
So you're here on Radio Row, Super Bowl's in a couple days, and you look around and you see all this hype, all this excitement. What do it mean to you to actually be in the game, to be playing that big one on a Sunday?
It will mean a lot. Again, I think that's what we all, grow up dreaming about, and that's what we all train and compete for. Again, from the time where you're a little kid, you go to those Super Bowl parties. Everybody is doing something on Super Bowl Sunday. I even heard of them trying to make Super Bowl Sunday a holiday so people can have the Monday off, after. So that just goes to show the importance of the Super Bowl. But again, like I said before, when you're in the off-season training and things like that, you're trying to prepare yourself not just for a 16-game season, but potentially, to play 20 games, hoping that you're playing that first week in February.
When you look at the two teams playing this Sunday, you got a dynamic offense in Kansas City led by Patrick Mahomes. He could do so many things. They got a lot of speed at wide receiver. What is it like if you had an opportunity to play with a quarterback like that who could do so many things with his arm and with his legs at the same time? What would it be like to be on a field with a guy like that?
Again, I think that, Patrick Mahomes is one of the more special talents that we saw come into this league, as far as I can remember. Again, I wasn't around when Tom Brady was young and, when Peyton Manning was young.
Well, neither one of them could run like Patrick.
Yeah, but again, just seeing the accomplishments of, somebody come out of college, being in their second or third year, being able to play in the Super Bowl, win the MVP and things like that. He's a pretty historic player, So, again, I mean, you would, as of now, you would put him kind of up there in that upper echelon of quarterbacks who have stood, before time and who have came and, done the things that he's done, So, again, like I said before, it's a special talent. And whenever you see guys like that play, like, Tom Brady, the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers, again, those guys are special talents, So whenever you see a person like that, you see how they can impact the guys around them.
Who do you think is going to win the game on Sunday?
That's tough. Again, I would probably say – I'm split. I promise you, I have no idea because you have two teams who play almost the exact opposite.
Yeah.
You have one team who's a big RPO team, heavy pass team in Kansas City. You have another team who's run heavy and base personnel kind of team in San Francisco. Also you have different defenses. One defense does play man zone, and another defense plays zone and is really good at that. So it's tough. I'm curious to see just kind of how the chess match go, but I think it'll be very tight. I think that it'll be a little bit more low-scoring game than people think. I think that these teams will take a little bit of time to kind of fill each other out. Again, I think that Kansas City, knowing that San Francisco is a zone-based team, but curious to see how San Francisco adjusts to the RPO game that Kansas City had, because the RPO game is built for zone. So I'm curious to see the adjustments, that Coach Saleh makes. And it's funny because I played with Coach Saleh in Jacksonville. So it's pretty cool seeing him, being able to call the defense in the Super Bowl.
How disappointing is it that a coach like that, who obviously has got the credentials to be a head coach, hasn't had that opportunity yet?
Yeah, it's tough. Again, you see a lot of teams go many different ways when it comes to how they want to, revamp their coaching staff or, the direction that they want to go with leadership. So it's tough to say, because, again, it's such a wide range of a wide range pool of coaches.
Yeah.
You know, again, you have some first-time head coaches, you have some previous head coaches, you have some coordinators who are coaches. You know, so it's such a large pool with only a limited amount of jobs. You know, so it really just all kind of goes down into what the organization wants as far as leadership and who they want to lead their team. You know, but I'm sure he'll get a chance eventually.
Well, man, I know you got a long career ahead of you, right? But you do a fantastic job behind the microphone.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate it.
if you're getting ready for post-career somewhere down the line, I know you do a great job. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome to the show, Rashad Jennings, a longtime NFL player, running back. You played for Jacksonville, the Giants. You were in Oakland. You did not get to a Super Bowl, but here you are amid all this excitement, this hoopla, checking out Radio Row, doing interviews. What is this atmosphere like, and is it crazier than you would have imagined 10, 15 years ago?
The atmosphere is amazing. I said this before. It's really like a family reunion, especially all the fellas get together. You know, you got the young guys out here mixed with some of the old vets that are, you know, we're Hall of Famers wearing gold jackets out here. So it's funny. Then you got the middleman, right? I feel like I'm part of the middle group where I'm between the old vet Hall of Famers and the young guys. Yeah. And it's funny to watch them banter back and forth. If they still, who was better, who did, you know, who's faster. Hey, boy, if I was in your age, you know what I mean? Like, so
of course.
It's that's always fun, and I feel like I get to hype it up a little bit.
If they had sports science back then, right? If all that stuff could have helped some of these guys.
If Instagram still exists, who would have been the biggest? You know, like, it's a lot of stuff.
Well, you would be a great guy to talk to about what's been a pretty hot topic in the past week or so since Eli Manning retired from the NFL. You played with Eli on the New York Giants, and the question is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? It's weird now to go into our first NFL season in more than 2 decades without a Manning in the league at all. But I look at a guy who's won 2 Super Bowls, MVP of 2 Super Bowls, and beat the New England Patriots, the dynasty, Belichick and Brady twice. It's going to be hard to keep him out. How do you feel about it?
I agree. I mean, you took the words out of my mouth. And during that era, I think he beat Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers along that route too. But, yeah, he is an elite player. Truly at the quarterback position, he has figured out a recipe. He's special. He is one of the hardest working dudes I've personally ever met. And literally, I know it's a cliche to say first in and last out, but he really was that. I locker beside him. Yeah. Right beside him, just like this. So we got to know each other, you know, on a personal level. I laugh. I say sometimes you get to know somebody too much when you locker beside him. But great dude, love him. Wouldn't trade him for the world. And he deserves to wear a gold jacket in the right time. Man.
So I never thought of Eli as a funny dude. And
Hilarious.
Victor Cruz was telling me yesterday how he was a practical joker, how he would do all kinds of stuff. You got a funny Eli story?
Listen, so me and Eli, I got a prank still going on. That we can't even reveal yet, but like in due time, it's still happening right now.
Is it towards other teammates?
It's towards other teammates
who are still playing, or
yes, and they have no idea, man. But he's a hilarious guy. I was telling people before, he can go on the show The Office and not act at all. Totally just be himself, and it'll fit the whole entire theme of the show. That's the type of dude he is. Yeah, he's got that dry humor. Yeah. You know, kind of, you know.
Well, I mean, we know Peyton's pretty good in the media, right? Peyton's done commercials and all that stuff. So I guess, you know, he's got the genes for that.
But I'm excited to see what he does now with his newfound openness with life. And I'm laughing because I heard him talk about that beer. You know, they used to be giving him a hard time with the whole beer in the back of the bus, so he could drink as much as he want and not be worried about anything now.
Well, Rashad, you're here along with Ali Kong, and you guys got a whole bunch of exciting stuff. Talking about eating healthy and everything. That's something that I strive to do. Here in Florida, covering the Super Bowl, it's been a long time in between meals, man. I'm popping protein bars and protein shakes. Tell us all about what you guys are doing.
Yeah, well, one, I'm humbled to be with Leah. She is a renowned world-class chef, not just any chef. She won't brag on herself, so I get to a little bit. But working with Real Eats. Real Eats is a company that I came across because I love having a personal chef. I've always had a personal chef through my whole entire NFL tenure, and it helps me so much. I'm big on macronutrients. I'm big on the density. I'm big and huge on the protein, and I care about where my food comes from. And no preservatives. I've ate gluten and dairy free for the last 12 years.
Wow.
And I'm extremely peculiar. But I'm a fat kid at heart.
Wait, when you say peculiar, like how so? Like I've never had a condiment of
really?
any kind. No, I don't put no. I've never tasted ketchup,
Really?
mayonnaise, mustard, anything. Never tasted it.
Yeah.
Like you're that peculiar. Like I'm
Peculiar-
strange, man.
peculiar
No
to-
dressing on my
That's
salad.
crazy. So I'm peculiar to the point of knowing what's in it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't like a lot of fluff and nasty stuff. I like everything clean, olive
fair.
oil, everything
Yeah.
to the basis. But never had a condiment.
No,
nothing.
man. Nah.
Why? No
And
ketchup on a little fry or
man.
barbecue
no,
sauce or something?
No. And my wife is
Everything dry.
my wife's a phenomenal chef at home. Not a professional chef, just home in the kitchen.
Right.
So I'm blessed. Sometimes I think she tries to sneak something in there and the
Yeah.
seasoning by me. I don't know. She's like, don't go saying you never had mustard because I might have marinated
She
some chicken
marinated
breast in honey.
something.
Does that count though? Let me ask
That
Leigh.
counts, yeah.
Would that, if my wife marinated chicken breast in honey mustard,
Then-
can I say I've never had mustard?
No.
No?
No, you've had it. You've had it.
I
It was
mean,
on the
oh,
outside
she-
of a chicken.
She
You had
got
it.
me.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
got me. Well, tell me about Real Eats, Aaliyah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me. You know, Real Eats, we're all about making real food accessible to as many people as possible. We just want people to eat healthy. And we do that. We started with meal delivery. So we have totally prepared meals that are shipped to you once a week that we use a vacuum sealing technique to keep them fresh in your fridge for 7 days. So if you can't get to it that night, you can't get to it the next night, it's still going to be good. And they reheat in 6 minutes in just a pot of boiling water.
Wow.
So we're based in upstate New York. We source from local farms in the area. There's not a processed food. There's not anything processed or anything artificial. I'm the chef. I design all of the meals. I make sure that everything is as healthy as can be. I mean, I feed my family with it. So that's really,
Wow.
that's where we are. And it's a really great thing. It's a great way to, and I don't want to call it like a health hack, but it's just making it a little more convenient because health right now is just not so convenient. There are too many things you can grab that are processed, even if they're posed as healthy, even if people
doubt.
call it healthy, that are just processed and don't have those wholesome, real ingredients that you need.
Well, Rashad Jennings, Aaliyah, thank you both so much for being here and appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
This podcast is presented by Regions Bank. You're chasing your goals, and it's up to you how you want to get there. Let Regions Bank coach you with financial tips that fit your everyday grind. Visit regions.com/next-step to learn more. Regions, member FDIC.
Welcome in former Pro Bowl running back Ronnie Brown. You played for the Miami Dolphins. You played for the Eagles this season. I covered you way back in 2011. That was the dream team. Remember the dream team with Andy Reid?
That was not so much a dream.
It was not. Yeah, it definitely wasn't. Then you went to San Diego. Ronnie, let me start with that because you played for Andy, and Andy's here now finally getting a second opportunity to win his first Super Bowl. He had the opportunity with the Eagles in 2004 and didn't. He gets often criticized for not being a big game coach. He's a guy who's won more games than any coach in the history of the NFL without a Super Bowl title, 7th on the all-time list. Do you think it's fair to criticize a coach and call him not a big game coach when he's won that many games? Isn't it sometimes up to the players to go out there and get the job done?
Yeah, I was going to say, one, I've never been in the big game, unfortunately, but I think, what does that mean? What does it mean to be a big-time coach or big game coach? Like, you got to the big game, which is every coach's one dream and, expectation. But then at the same time, when we get there, you've gone through the playoffs. I'm not speaking from experience going through, the playoffs and making it to the Super Bowl. But, just my thoughts on being a former player is, you've done all the necessary things to get to the big game. So, you've kind of gotten used to, you've gotten adjusted for the guys that haven't been in the playoffs. So you've had a few games, you get that experience. So now once you get to the big game, it's ultimately up to the players. Yeah, you want to go in, you game plan, and once you go through the game plan, you put in all these things. At the end of the day, it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmys and Joes. So, at the end of the day, it's man on man. That's how you got to approach it. You got to win your matchup, and that's what you should say in the locker room. And, if you take that approach, you do what you're supposed to do, then it doesn't matter what a coach calls if you execute the play, unless, every now and then, it's a game of chess between the coordinators. But you still have to do your job, and everybody has to take part in winning or losing the game.
What do you remember most about Andy as a coach, he's very well known as being a player's guy because I covered his entire career in Philadelphia. I never heard him stand up there at the podium and rip a player. He always put the blame on himself. And I think that resonates with guys in the locker room because you got a coach who's not going to throw you under the bus. You guys had a lot of expectations that year in 2011. Like we said at the beginning, the dream team, and didn't live up to them. But Andy wasn't making excuses for anyone. He put it all on himself. So what do you remember about him?
I think just from my experience in spending the season with him, he was one of those laid-back coaches. He took a lot of, ownership in, what was going on. And I think that may be the reason that everyone's like, well, he's not a big game coach because he assumed so much responsibility. So now, from him doing that, I think he gets criticized from being one of those individuals who is willing to take the, take the spear for the team and be like, I'm not throwing a guy under the bus. In that season in 2011, there was a lot of talent that was accumulated, but at the same time, ultimately, you can only put guys in the room. Everybody else has to do their job. Personalities have to match. You have to be willing to be unselfish. And so all of those things come into play when you talk about winning games, especially, a sport like football, which is the ultimate team sport.
You were the number 2 overall pick in the 2005 draft. What kind of advice would you give players who are going to be coming out, top 5 picks, top 3 pick, about the expectations and the pressure and trying not to put too much pressure on yourself?
I think the first thing is, especially now being on this side of it, being retired, is to quiet the noise. I think the comfort zone is playing sports, and that's, where you get in and you get the peace the most. But outside of that, try to keep everything, structured. And I think that's where guys struggle because outside of the game, that's what you've been doing all your life. But when you talk about being in the cities and going out and all the other things, that are non-football related, that's where a lot of the distractions are created. So, trying to quiet that noise, trying to make sure that you got a great group of people around you to help you navigate, this new situation, especially being younger in it, because at the end of the day, it's a professional career, and unfortunately the athlete part falls off professional athlete, and you're just a professional, so you have to handle yourself accordingly. And so trying to circle yourself with the right people, who have your best interest in mind, and always hold you accountable. So it's really the accountability part of it.
Now you're here on behalf, Ronnie, of LumiCharge. It's an LED lamp that charges your phone. I'm telling you, I could use one right here, right now.
Right. I think everyone could. It, right? It's just a great lamp. It's a great product. Obviously, you get a chance to get the charge, with your phone, the wireless charge, but then also just having access to a lamp. And I think now with everybody so much on the move and having to move around and do so much, having access to that lamp. And then I guess as we get older, we need a little bit more lighting, to look at our phones.
I ain't there yet, man. You're not there yet. You're
not
38,
yet,
man.
But I already know. It's like, if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So, I think getting ready to, whether you're reading emails or trying to do some finish-up work, you're sitting here reading on some guys and getting some information. I think having access to that lamp, but then also these computers that we walk around with so much, we actually need them. Like
we live on that thing.
For me, that's how I got here. So having something, a product that's available for that, it makes it a lot easier.
Well, Ronnie Brown, thank you so much, man, for joining us here. Appreciate your time. I'm joined now by Harrison Smith from the Minnesota Vikings. Harrison, you're here on behalf of Sleep Number, so we're going to get to that because that looks so comfortable. My back hurts, man, and I'm about to just jump on it. I ain't going to go anywhere else. But I want to ask you about the 49ers because you guys were eliminated by San Francisco. This is a team that can win in so many different ways, and they got such a powerful run offense. What is the key to stopping this team? What would you tell the Kansas City Chiefs?
Man, it's easier said than done. Obviously, you want to get guys in the right gaps and winning the line of scrimmage. But the past few games, the Packers game and our game with the Niners, they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, especially running the football. I think they had around 300 versus Green Bay and 200 versus us, which is kind of unheard of in the NFL. So they're just doing a great job of executing and being physical and creating creases for their running backs. So you know that as a defense, but it's different between knowing it and stopping it.
Yeah, how demoralizing is that when you know it's coming and you can gear up for it, but you just can't be able to stop it?
Well, the thing is with them, they make all those runs and all those boots off of them and the play actions. They look the exact same, and they have guys on the edges, Sanders and those guys, and then they got Kittle and Juszczyk, and the way that they all block in the run game, and then off of that make it look the same and get out on routes. It just makes it really difficult on defenders.
Are they more old school or old school with exotic blends?
I'd say old school with wrinkles, with a new age type of blend, because they'll do the kind of the pre-snap motion to change your gaps and things like that to get you looking different places. But at the end of the day, it starts with the guys up front, and if they're moving the opponents, then there's going to be lanes for the backs.
There's some question marks as far as whether or not they can win a game in a shootout against a team like Kansas City with the dynamic offense that Patrick Mahomes leads over there. Do you think Jimmy Garoppolo can lead this team if it got into a shootout where they have to score? Maybe they fall behind by 10. Maybe they fall behind by 13.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely capable of making the throws. And they do, like you said, they have those wrinkles to make, get the ball out in space to somebody and see what they can do with it. Obviously Pat Mahomes, I think, probably has the edge there. He can really sling it around and create. But if you're running the football well and you can throw off of that, it's going to open some things up for Jimmy.
Harrison Smith, man, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it. From one Viking to another, I want to welcome in Xavier Rhodes. Yeah. Xavier, you guys played the Chiefs and the Niners. I talked to Harrison a little bit about San Francisco.
I see you had that Viking legend here.
Yeah, I need you to tell me about Kansas City. Because as we were just talking about before, man, you guys didn't lose to Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying, you didn't lose to Patrick Mahomes.
Because,
it's a different offense now.
No, see, I've been getting that question a lot. They've been talking about, we played both teams, and they've been asking me about Patrick Mahomes. How was he when we played against him? I'm like, we didn't play against Patrick Mahomes. We played against Mac Moore. It's a different style of offense.
Well, with a guy like Patrick Mahomes, with his ability to create, a play's never over. You got to watch out. He can make any throw on any given. It looks like it to me. I mean, you might say, I don't know if he can make this throw or that throw. To me, because I'm not on that field, he looks to me like a guy who can make any throw, and he's got the confidence to attempt to make that throw. How does that, when you're in a secondary, I mean, you got to be on guard because you can't cheat up. You got to be, how difficult does he make that?
It's like playing against Aaron Rodgers. If you watch him play, I mean, the play never stops.
Yeah.
And he's confident in every throw he makes. He throws. I'm sorry. So that's the same thing with Patrick Mahomes. He runs around, give his guys time to get open, and he make throws. No look, one finger, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. He's confident in anything he throws at his
throw it left-handed.
Yeah, left hand, whatever. He's confident.
Listen, I've thrown a left-handed pass in like Turkey Bowl, so it's not that big a deal. You know what I'm saying? But wait a minute, you're putting when you put Mahomes in Aaron Rodgers category, which I think we all agree they're elite level quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I think Patrick's even more dangerous with his legs, though, right?
The reason I put those two together is their style of play, how they play. Like I say, Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes give their guys, their receivers, time to get open by their feet, by using their feet. Because not only they can throw, they can run, and also they can throw on the run.
Yeah.
So it's like there's really no weakness to them, because some quarterbacks cannot throw as accurate on the run, but those two can. So, and they can throw in the pocket. If the quarterbacks,
absolutely.
Sometimes you want the quarterback that can scramble to beat you in the pocket, and they can scramble. So if you let them sit in the pocket, they're going to pick you apart.
Well, Xavier, how do you think this game's going to play out Sunday?
I mean, I think it's going to be a great one, man. With the offense, with KC offense, and and for you, we all see how 49ers defense been playing. So with their defense, it's going to be a great challenge for both teams, and plus with the offense with 49ers run game, and that's been pretty hard to stop this year. And as you know, Patrick Mahomes and those guys, the track stars they have on that team, which those guys can catch and run past you, make you miss, and also they run a game. It's pretty nice with their tight end. So it's like they offense just out, it's just unbelievable.
It's going to be a fun game, no doubt. And I was just telling Harrison, man, you got that sleep number back there. My back's been killing me, sleeping in a hotel for 3-4 days. Dak Prescott told me earlier today, to him, that sleep number is like a competitive advantage. Mm-hmm. Which one do you have, and how much does it help you?
I think I have the latest one, the I-10, I believe.
Okay, that's what Harrison has.
So with that, it does give you an advantage because when I hit the bed and when it's time for me to go to sleep, I go right to sleep without even without tossing and turning. Mm-hmm. Usually before in the other beds, it took me about an hour or two to go to bed. With that bed, literally, no lie, it takes me no more than 10 minutes.
Truth?
Wow,
truth. How about that? Well, all right, I got to get me one, man. What can you do to hook me up? I'm over here talking to everybody I can.
Sleep number, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. I'm going to make that happen, huh? That's it. Xavier Rhodes says I got to get me a sleep number. We're going to make that happen. Hey, man, thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
No problem.
We've had a slew of Hall of Famers just come through here, and now I got one more Hall of Famer, Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Brown. Thank you so much for stopping by for a few minutes.
Appreciate it.
Super Bowls and the hype and the crowd and the radio row and the media and all that stuff, it's wild. It's crazy. How do you tell younger guys who are playing in this, man, to not let that affect the way they go out there and play on the field? Don't get caught up in that hype.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is what happens during the week, right? Because that's the thing that really changes. The football doesn't change, right? It's going to be a football game when you kick off on Sunday. But if you get caught up in the week and doing all these crazy things in the week, I mean, it can take away from everything you could possibly think about doing on Sunday. So to me, that's the most important part, is to make sure that the what you do during the week stays the same as what you normally did.
But as far as the preparation during the week, you got the media obligations. Then you finally, by the time these teams take the practice field on a Wednesday, they had to go through Monday night, Tuesday, and most of the cases a little bit on Wednesday. Do you think it's too much?
Really, you only talk about certain guys. I mean, I know when we came, it was me, Rich Gannon, a couple offensive linemen who were really getting bombarded, the first couple of days with the media requests. So it's not like everybody has to deal with it. And from that standpoint, the media night, yes, everybody's out there. But, as far as requests after that, it's really going to be individual guys. And I was used to doing it. I did it every week. I mean, we had media day on Wednesday, but I would take questions up until Thursday. After Thursday, I didn't take any questions. So for me, it wasn't anything different than what I've been doing the whole year.
What do you see as the biggest change in the NFL since your days playing?
The game is more wide open. The different defensive rules are more relaxed now than they used to be. So it enables receivers to get off the line a little easier. Makes it very difficult on DBs to cover even downfield. Some of these calls seem to be a little tick-attack. And so, I think from that standpoint, it's just a different game from that standpoint. But to me, it's still very exciting.
Well, Tim, you're here on behalf of Caden Wood and their Level Select CBD creams and roll-ons. They help you with muscle pain and stiffness. I've been sitting in this chair. My back is killing me, man.
I can imagine.
I'm struggling right now.
Imagine.
I've been popping some pain med.
Oh,
right?
No, we got to get you off that. No doubt about
help me out. What can we do here?
Yeah, man. So obviously I'm known for being a very clean-cut guy. So when this company came to me, I was like, hey, look, we're not going to be messing around here. If you guys want me in, I'll be in. But, we can't be doing the THC. So one of the first things they did was make sure that was on the product. And I had folks to do some testing. And, they sent me all the testing. And one of the things I was really impressed with was the fact that they own their own farms, so it allows them to really produce a product the way it's supposed to be produced. Buy one, get one for 50% off. And, you can go to selectmylevel.com.
Thank you so much, Tim Brown, for
Thank you,
joining
brother.
us. Appreciate
you.
that.
Yes, sir.
We have a very special guest. Martha Stewart is here. Martha, you're a James Beard Award winner,
Yes.
which is it's a very cool thing. You're here, and you got a Super Bowl commercial on behalf of it's a Tostitos commercial.
Tostitos
it's
and
with
avocado salsa
with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
What was it like to do a commercial with Snoop Dogg?
Well, we're partners in a TV show. We're in our third season on VH1 called Martha and Snoop's Potluck Dinner Party.
Mm-hmm.
And which is very popular and very fun to do. And so we're used to working with each other, and anything centered around food is a favorite of ours.
Well, Super Bowl is all about snacks, food, sitting home, having fun, enjoying it.
Do you know how many pounds of snack food Pepsi, who makes Tostitos, by the way, makes for the Super Bowl?
How many?
500 million pounds.
Wait, say that again. 500 million pounds.
So if
Wow.
500 million people are watching the Super Bowl, which maybe more than that watch the Super Bowl, but that's only a pound per person, so it's not so much.
No, well, yeah. If
Because you probably eat at least a pound of stuff that day, right?
If you look at it that way, well, yeah, for most people,
so
yeah,
it's not,
absolutely.
So if you look at it that way, it's not so extraordinary, but it's the biggest day after Thanksgiving for eating in America.
Well, a lot of people are going to be gaining a few pounds on Super Bowl Sunday, but then they can get back in the gym on Monday or Tuesday or whenever they want to go. What is a Super Bowl atmosphere like for you? Because look at this. We're looking around here. We're sitting on Radio Row. It's so wild.
But Radio Row is not a row. It is an entire coliseum filled with every single station across America. Everybody has a little table with all their equipment. And it's incredible that they have enough power in this building for everybody, right?
That's a great point.
For transmitting, my gosh, it's a very big deal.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, are you satellite?
Yeah, we're everything, right? Yeah. So
anyway, so it's very fun, and there's everything from Twitter to AP.
Yes,
it's pretty much.
Well, now we got all the platforms. You got to do the Twitter, you got to do Facebook, you got to do LinkedIn, you got to do everything. How do you keep up?
Well, I'm pretty modern about stuff like this, so I'm an early adopter of all the new technology, and now we're starting TikTok. Can you believe it? TikTok.
Oh my goodness.
So I learned all about TikTok while I was just recently in China, and the TikTok girls are everywhere.
Okay.
Taking pictures of themselves with their iPhones and posting on TikTok. So anything new that grasps the attention of most people is the new technology these days, and it's incredible. Instagram, going to TikTok. Now I don't know what the next thing is. Do you?
I don't know. I skipped over Snapchat. I didn't want to do that. I'm not doing it. Right now, I don't have the TikTok, but I have 6-year-old twin girls.
Oh, they're going to want TikTok.
Yeah, they see their cousins, and they're interested in that. As far as the game itself, do you have interest in the game? Do you watch the game? Do you host a party? Like, what's your Sunday like?
Well, I come to Super Bowls because I like seeing the live Super Bowl, and I like seeing the halftime. And this year, neither team is in my radar, really, but it's going to be a good game, and I'm anxious to see who wins. I'm betting on the 49ers for my grandson, Truman, who's 7, and he $40 I have to put on I haven't found the bookie.
So you know how to do that?
Sure.
Forget about book everything now. You could go on this app
online,
or that app.
We're going to be betting, so it'll be fun to see if I can deliver some winnings to Truman.
That is so cool. So you're going to enjoy the halftime, I'm sure.
Yes.
J-Lo and Shakira.
Oh yeah.
Are you a fan of their kind of music?
Oh,
and
well,
I enjoy it.
I'm a friend of J-Lo, and A-Rod, so I'm anxious to see what J-Lo comes up with. I hope she doesn't drag poor A-Rod out on the stage, but you can never tell.
Well, you never can tell. Absolutely not. So the commercial is Martha and Snoop Dogg, and it's
Tostitos, and it is the avocado salsa.
Okay.
Which is a delicious, creamy avocado dip.
It's healthy,
that
too.
You can eat with the new, broad, crispy Tostitos chips.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
That's it for this Super Bowl edition of the AP Top 25 College Football Podcast. I'm Rob Maaddi on Radio Row in Miami, reminding you, make a difference. Be a blessing.
This podcast is presented by Regions Bank. You're chasing your goals, and it's up to you how you want to get there. Let Regions Bank coach you with financial tips that fit your everyday grind. Visit regions.com/next-step to learn more. Regions, member FDIC.